Well, hi everyone, this is Dr. Steve Patty bringing you another in our series on personal leadership, how to pursue the kind of life that you want to have. And over the past number of sessions, we've been thinking about your growing edge, the area in your life that if you could make some progress in this, it would get you into a space and put you in a position to be able to have the kind of life you dream of having. And a growing edge is an area that's not easy to grow in. It's an evolutionary step for you. It's not just a technical skill that you can learn, but it's a way of developing yourself so that you might have the best possible life and reach your fullest possible potential. And then our last time together, we were talking about the necessity of having a strong holding environment. We need a holding environment because to work on the things that are hard for us generates disequilibrium. And that is uncomfortable for us, and so we tend to walk away, we tend to flee, we tend to retreat, and we need something to keep us doing the hard work of growing and developing and evolving. So we talked about 3 different ways we need a holding environment. Holding environment of companionship, so people in your life that know you, that trust you, that support you, that care for you, and then also call you out and challenge you and elevate you to a higher level. Holding environment of companionship, holding environment of structure, because you need to be able to continually take some steps, you need to plan for those steps, doing things time after time after time, experimenting with your own growing edge so that you can continue to practice what it means to grow. And this won't happen without some type of plan or structure. And then you also need a holding environment of vision because, well, until you know why, the cost is always too high. So you need a vision of what your life could be to keep you on path, making progress toward that kind of life. Today we're going to talk about what you don't know about yourself. What you don't know about yourself. Have you ever noticed when you've seen weightlifters training that they usually train in front of a mirror? And when you see dancers practicing dances, they usually dance in front of a mirror. Why do they do that? Because they recognize that you can only see what you can see. And you see forward from your vantage point, from your perspective, and you can't see all of you. You can't see all of what you look like from the perspective of your own eyes. And so you need a mirror to look back at you to give you the perspective on things that you can't see from your own vantage point. That's interesting. Think about your growing edge for a moment. You see yourself in your life, walking through your life, acting in your own life, but you're the narrator of your life. You have a vantage point on your life, and certainly you observe certain kinds of things, but it would stand to reason that you are also blinded to certain kinds of things. You're unable to see some of how you come across to others, how you react to people, how you show up in your life, how you're taken by others, right? What triggers you and what elevates you and energizes you. Some of that you're actually unable to see because you're embedded in your own experience and you only have one vantage point, and that's your vantage point. So what would it be like to get another vantage point on your growing edge? Might you be able to see some things about yourself that you're unable to see right now? How do you gain that perspective? There's a metaphor that Ron Heifetz and Marty Linsky out of Harvard's Kennedy School use that I think is a really apt metaphor. They say it's important to get on the balcony. And you can picture this, right? Our lives are on the dance floor. We can wake up every morning and there's all kinds of things to do and to take care of, responsibilities that we have. And we dance through the day and then fall asleep exhausted in our beds at night. And we do it time and time and time again. And they say, what would it be like to get up on the balcony, to get off the dance floor for a moment and to get the perspective of yourself as a dancer on the dance floor? Because when you're dancing, you're absorbed in your own dance. You're listening to the music, you're paying attention to the person in front of you, you're thinking about how you're interacting with those just right there, but you can't see yourself on the dance floor. And the balcony perspective gives you that kind of insight into how you're dancing through the days of your life and what your growing edge looks like as you work on that day in and day out. So how do you get on the balcony? Well, I think there are at least 2 kinds of ways to get on the balcony. The first is to practice some form of mindfulness. And here on YWell, there are some other videos that will help you think about mindfulness and being in touch with what's going on in your own life. So all kinds of ways you can practice that. You can meditate, you can pray, you can be quiet. Once a week, once a day, you could pull back and think about how you're showing up in your life and what's happening, and process not just what you're doing, but why you're doing what you're doing and how you're feeling about what you're doing and what that says about what's happening inside of you in your interior, not just in your exterior. So some practice of mindfulness would be appropriate to gain a bit of perspective on yourself, even as you reflect on yourself from your own vantage point. The other way, however, to get on the balcony would be to actually get someone else's perspective on you, to help someone get you up to the balcony so that they can point out things that you might be missing. Have someone be a mirror to you, in other words. This might be a fascinating step to take. Someone who's close to you, someone who observes you, and maybe someone also who has a reliable perspective. So it could be your partner or someone whom you're really close to or living with, but it could also be someone within your sphere of profession or sphere of friendship with whom you may sit down and ask the question, how am I showing up on my growing edge in my life? Tell me things to encourage me. Tell me things to challenge me about who I am and how I'm showing up. You know where this is going, don't you? Here is your task for this session: to find someone in your life who might give you a reliable perspective and ask them. Tell them to give you the truth about particularly what's happening in your growing edge. A number of years ago, when I was a young professor or mid-career professor, I was telling my management students, those who were taking a leadership class from me, to go and do this for themselves, to get the perspective of a few other people. And then I thought, well, it wouldn't be good if I just told them to do it. I needed to also follow through on what I was suggesting to others. So I went to my dean and I asked him if he could think about my own life and give me some perspective. He said, sure, but give me a few days to think about it. And that made me nervous. He was a thoughtful person and really insightful. And he didn't hold back usually when he gave feedback in people's lives. So the day came when he said, okay, I'm ready to give you the mirror back to you. We went out to lunch and he said, there are 4 things I observe in your life. And those 4 things were surprising things to me. I had not seen them. Well, a few of them I'd seen a little bit, but his perspective on that, bringing the mirror to bear on my life, was transformational for me. I was able to get on the balcony with his help and see what was happening in my life. And that gave me insight to my growing edge and helped me know what to work on going forward. So that's your task between now and next time. Find someone, ask them to get on the balcony with you and give you perspective on your life, particularly on your growing edge. We'll take a next step and work from that perspective going forward. Until then, lead yourself well and lead others well.